Every art class curriculum starts with the introduction of still life and trying to mimic reality as a segue into the artistic journey. This holds true 500 years ago and today, as it is the tradition used to teach new artists to express themselves. What's taught is realism. Realism is the replication of the observed reality and hails the pinnacle of artistic skill in 1495 with pieces from Raphael, Titan, and Leonardo. Every 100 years or so, someone emerges who successfully steps away from the status quo, revolutionizes what art is for them, finding their own way to express themselves, their own way of interpreting life, their own way of creating art. I dream my painting, and then I paint my dream. A simple yet somber quote from Vinnie Van Gogh, a classically trained artist whose tortured mind forced him to abandon realism to give life to the madness going on in his mind, and successfully created these pieces that went on to be immortalized. Pablo Picasso, well known for his abstract art, straight up childish works at times. He created this painting in 1896 at the ripe old age of 15. It took him 7 years to paint like Michelangelo, but an entire lifetime to paint like a child. This was someone who preferred to express themselves in this abstract way despite knowing how to do realism expertly. So those guys are masters, but they are very old, maybe very dead and old. It would be better to have someone who isn't dead and old as an example of an artist that hates realism. On March 1st, 2018, Sam Does Art made his first post on Instagram public, and it was realism. It was realism. The piece showcased his skill and incredible knowledge of fundamentals at the time. 637 posts in 7 years on his Instagram, and guess how many of those posts are realism? Just the first 5. I can't find Sam's take on realism, but the proof is in the pudding.
Right here, I think I'm gonna go for something a little bit more stylized. I'm gonna be a little bit more expressive with my work. I'm not gonna be going for that photorealism kind of look because I don't really do that anymore. It's just, it hasn't been as fun for me. Like for the longest time, I've been trying to escape it, and I finally did, and I have no inclination to go back.
He goes on creating works depicting his preferences, his perspective, his ideas, and chiseled away at it until he created one of the most infectious art styles on the internet. This is way more common than you think. All the greats have done this. Yusuke Murata, Ramon Nunes, Kim Jong-il, Akira Toriyama, Ilya Kushyanov. All the greats made that similar decision. That decision being to stick to their unique interpretations of artistry and in essence created art styles. It is incredibly rigid. The art fundamentals and techniques applied in realism have very strict rules. Those rules can't be reapplied in different ways or even broken for creative emphasis. If the creative liberties is applied to, let's say, anatomy, then it's not realistic enough, and it's objectively wrong. If lighting is not applied exactly how it would and reflected exactly how it would in real life, then it's also objectively wrong as well. This is unique to realism. There isn't any freedom to create because technique, rules, and even details overshadow creativity. It makes a whole lot of sense why people don't do realism even when they're formally educated to do realism, you know? The inspiration for this video came from the realism I am most exposed to, them being photorealistic celebrity portraits of photos of said celebrity portraits. Vinnie Van Gogh said, "Paintings have a life of their own that derives from the painter's soul." There is something deeply soulless about a one-to-one replication of a picture, no matter how detailed and technically sound it is. A creative process is defined as a systematic approach that transforms an idea into a final form, ultimately leading to innovation and new understanding. This process is crucial because of how the human mind facilitates creativity by building upon personal experience, inspirations, and skills. So calling art art without a creative process is just misleading, which is why I don't think this is enough.
Thank you for inviting me, Andrew. I'm glad to be here.
Today, you're one of the world's most visible deep learning researchers. I'd like to ask you to share a bit about your personal stories.
Yeah, that sounds great. I guess I first became interested in machine learning right before I met you, actually.
What was that? That was Ian Goodfellow, the inventor of the generative adversarial network GAN, the pioneer of AI imagery, and it adds up because he himself is AI generated also. Anyways, where was I? AI realism. Okay, so AI has improved to the point where it can learn to generate real life images and even art styles. It can just learn to replicate most things, to be honest, at very high quality, not to mention speed, which is why I find it I just can't understand why someone who is so technically gifted and works so hard at the craft would dedicate themselves to making this type of work. It can't be for love, because imitation to this level is stripped away from creativity. It can't be to make ends meet, because there's just no demand. No demand.
Men only want one thing, and it's not money, it's not power, it's not love.
And quite frankly, the skill that takes, the imitation, is accessible to everyone. So there's no uniqueness in that alone. And if you study the greats, you realize that that was always the case. Everyone has technical abilities. However, it was the mind and the use of their knowledge and understandings and how they interpret how they interpret stuff is what makes the big difference. That level of imitation is just really hard. It's just really hard to look at. It's very disheartening, because I don't think it's art, and the person who does it is actually very skilled, so they can really use their skills to do so much more inspiring stuff. I would much prefer to keep rambling off more artists who hate realism to confirm my bias, of course, but that doesn't tell the whole story. There are plenty of artists who are creative, innovative, inspiring, and inspired, who also do realism. While I do think there are exceptions to the rule being artists don't like realism, they are still moving the genre forward. There's Toyasu and Jeremy Lipkin. I did have to research those guys, but nevertheless their work is brilliant. Doing the research for this video kind of inspired me to get back and do some more realism, because it is important. It sucks, but it is important. The foundations, the techniques, the skills, it translates. I had plenty of bad takes in this video, so let me know what you think. Peace. Oh, like and subscribe. Peace.